Apologize. Oh my God. I do apologize. It turns out there's been no sound on the recording. I do apologize. We've been talking about some incredibly disturbing details of the evidence of Maya, who is a woman who's giving evidence today at the undercover police inquiry, who was deceived into an abusive sexual relationship by the undercover police officer HN18. Rob Harrison, who's using the cover name, Rob Hastings, who's using the cover name Rob Harrison, infiltrated No Borders, State of Emergency, the International Solidarity Movement, Rampart Social Centre, among others. We've just been, I can't believe we didn't do the sound, given that it's been just so fucking horrific to talk about. We've talked about the intense abuse that Robert Harrison committed against her. I mean, you up for recapping what we've just been saying?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just my immediate reaction was just like, it is just really, really sad and painful to hear, and must be so incredibly hard for Maya, because what's being, what they're going over in the inquiry is such intimate correspondences between them and details, and there's a lot of really sexualized and often like abusive chat from him, and it must be incredibly difficult for her. And I made a short film with Maya and two other women who were spider bombed by other undercover cops called We Do Not Consent, and I've had lots of her story in the process of making that, but every detail that comes out today, so much of it is new, and so much is more kind of horrific and disturbing. It's like, how low can a person go? He is just complete sadist. He hates women. He has real issues around race and fetishizing women of color. And I don't know what I think about the word evil, but like, if ever I were to use it, I would use it in this context. I really struggle to understand how someone can just be like that coercive and cruel and awful. It feels like there's no limit to his cruelty.
It is deeply sadistic. I mean, like we've talked about we saw the messages back and forth between them, and the way in which he presents himself as a victim, as if somehow he needs looking after by her. She'd been incredibly open, and it's been incredibly disturbing for her to have to share these things that she's talked about, how her first sexual experience was of rape, about her self-harm, and the way in which he turned that on her and like accused her of he was jealous of her rapist, asking really disturbing questions about what happened during the rape act, and like and presenting himself as being someone like she wasn't giving him enough attention, she wasn't doing enough for him. It's really fucking horrible.
He's constantly presenting himself as the victim, and him as the one who needs to be cared for. And he literally targeted her because of her vulnerability. And I think before they even really started their relationship, he knew these facts, that the first time she had sex, it was rape, and that she had a history of self-harming, and he went for her. That's why it's like, I think she said this when we were speaking previously, but or maybe one of the other women said it. It's like, was he actually trying to just like destroy her entirely? It's always really disturbing, but today it's really another level. And I just think, I don't know, I'm sure many people have sat here and gone, I think this one's the worst. But the fact that he's going to be sat in that room next week, it is, I don't know, it's if I'm here, I think if we're all here, it's gonna just even being in a space with him, I find that really hard to imagine.
And it's just so deeply frustrating that the worst that's going to happen for him is he's going to feel some level of discomfort and embarrassment about what he did being presented to him. This public inquiry is a process in establishing the truth of what happened. It's not going to result in any punishment for him for what he did. I mean, it's just deeply frustrating.
It really is. The fact that he will just swan in here, he'll probably lie. Maybe something will get a bit closer to understanding, like just the depths of how awful he is. It'll be a bit humiliating for him, but like, that's it. It's like, what kind of justice can there be when he's put somebody who really did love him? Like Maya says, she was in love with him. I'm like, what does justice look like? I I just want to egg him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's quite reserved, really. I it's on top of the sexual abuse, on top of the fucking mental, like the fact that she was in love with him, and like the tenderness that's shown in that when we see the emails and the messages back and forth, the tenderness for her, concerned about him, worried that, like, she's talked about how she hated her body because he would accuse her of having sex with other men. She talked about how, you know, she was very uncomfortable with the fact that she would get harassed by men. And when she ever told him about it, he said, "Oh, that's because you're fucking them." And then she started hating her own body, thinking she must have somehow give out a vibe. And this was someone who already had a history of self-harm, which he was like doubling down on. I mean, like, just how can you, like, it is evil. He is fucking evil. And like,
it's such a textbook case of coercive control, but really in the extreme, and how much it warps and affects, you know, the survivor or the person who's going through it, their psychology. The fact that she should feel all this shame and this guilt and this concern for him, it's just so many layers of misogyny, and all the suffering is just in the wrong place. It really is. And I kind of, like, I'm listening to it and just thinking about it in terms of the coercive control of it. And then you kind of, sometimes I almost forget that in addition to just the really toxic, cruel dynamic of the relationship, he was also a cop. But I can almost forget, because the relationship itself was so bad, or his behavior in it was so abusive, that you kind of almost forget that on top of that there was this, you know, the infiltration, because also Maya wasn't an activist. She lived next door to some Friends of Palestine activists, and that was the only reason he spied on her and consistently returned to her life. Like, we've not yet properly, we'll cover this in the afternoon, but he left her life, as all the spy cops kind of did, and, like, you know, left her in a real state, and then returned gratuitously years later. And we think maybe it was because the public inquiry had been announced, and he wanted to just suss out how much she knew and whether or not he was going to be caught out. Is like, that's, you know, we don't know exactly why, that's a theory, but the level of gratuitous violence is just a lot. It's really, really a lot. And Maya's doing such an incredible job of just answering every question, being completely honest. Like, it just must be so hard. And I know, again, through working with her, that she is just, like, committed. She's like, I know I have to go through this. I know I have to share everything, because that's the only way that people will really understand. But it really takes its toll, and it's experiencing all of that, to have to rehash it, and then in this institutionalized space, is really, 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 I think, unimaginably hard.
Yeah, before we started doing the sound, you referred to it as a nightmare. This way of it, like, just all of it being presented, like, it's nothing to do with the shame of it, but, like, nobody wants their life. I mean, like, she's got anonymity, but, like, nobody wants their life presented, like, in the public forum like this. It's so fucking horrible. I've sat through some really, really horrific days at the inquiry, but I think this ranks as, like, one of the worst. It's the level to which there's the horror. Like, literally, it's horror. It's like a fucking horror show. It is so deeply disturbing. I don't know what else to say.
If you imagine him as, like, a fictional character in a drama, forget about the spy cops thing for a minute, but just imagine him as, like, an evil boyfriend. He does so much, it is almost not plausible. Like, in a writer's room, they'd go, like, oh, he needs some redeeming features, or, like, no one's that much of a dick. And he really was. Like, we also, like, there's going to be more this afternoon. And then on top of that, the spying and the targeting someone who's not even an activist. It's just, like, it's such extreme misogyny. It's really quite hard to get your head around how a human has so little regard for someone else's life and well-being.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even begin. I mean, I don't want to fucking understand these men, right? I don't want to. But one of the really, like, frustrating things of this process is you're kind of invited to try and work out where they're coming from, what it's about, and it's the last thing I want to do. And, like, we sometimes get comments kind of on the videos or whatever going, oh, it's because they're this or that or the other. And it's like, fuck these guys, man. I don't want to fucking get inside their heads. They can fuck off. But like, how the fuck, man? How the fuck?
Yeah. And just thinking of like his evidence next week, he's got 3 days. And it's like, on that note of trying to understand him, part of me is like, there's part of me which is like, yeah, how do you begin to even explain this, or, you know, whatever. But then it's also like the actions do speak louder than whatever his words are. Like, there's no justification. Like, actually, we just, you know, you can kind of almost end with Maya's testimony. It's like, and if he lies about it or diminishes things or belittles her in any way, it's like that just makes it worse. But then equally, like, this is about information, and of course there are reasons to hear from him. I fucking hate the man.
I fucking hate him. I fucking hate all of them, but I fucking hate him.
I really fucking hate him. And I'm really, I don't know if grateful is the word, but just like good on Maya for revealing it all. And yeah, I think it's really hard to understand just how hard it is, and just like going over these things, because she blocks it out. She has to get on with her life, and this is just a process she knows she has to go through, and she, you know,
I mean, the only one that, I mean, like, you know, having met her a bunch of times and like worked alongside her with, you know, the campaigning around against undercover policing, it is amazing that she is such an amazing, fucking, seemingly incredibly well-balanced woman that she is today, given all the shit she's had to fucking deal with. And she has been incredible. I mean, like, she's broken down a number of times whilst giving the evidence, understandably. You know, some of the details, I mean, like, the public gallery is full of people crying. I mean, it is, you know, no wonder, but like, she's doing an incredibly good job. Hats off to her. She's amazing. And also, one thing I think that is really difficult for her, and I think in general, is people pitying you, or kind of you know, inevitably becoming a victim. Like, you know, it's why we use the word survivor rather than victim, because it's meant to be empowering. But like, and like, she is a survivor. The fact she's survived this is like, you know, also incredible. But it's really hard, even amongst your loved ones and your friends and your peers, for them to know like the depths of what you've gone through, because of course people are going to feel sorry for you, but then even that position is a really hard one to inhabit. To just be on the receiving end of people's pity and sympathy is not really where anyone wants to be either. It's I mean, I don't know what else to say, to be honest. It's such a fucking, like, sometimes we come on these videos and we like kind of make light of things and have a laugh and like kind of just point out how ridiculous the undercover cops are and how pathetic they are and all this kind of stuff. But today isn't one of those fucking days.
No, it's not. And I thought with Maya's story, I always thought, because it is so recent, you know, it's within the last decade really, or at least her finding out, and the relationship was, you know, it was in the last 15 years. I always thought, oh, that's part of the reason why hers is so kind of like fresh, and the emotions of it is up there. But it's not even just that. Even it is partly that, but it's like, it's because what happened was so bad and kind of torturous, that even if it had happened to her 30 years ago, I still think hers is a particularly tough case. I don't, you know, like, if it happened to her 30 years ago, we still wouldn't be sitting here able to like respond in any other way than we are now, because of the nature of that relationship.
I think you're completely right.
And at least his name is out there. That's one good thing, because that was, you know, hidden for a long time.
I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was only revealed a couple of months ago, earlier this year. We've had some comments. Jack Shepherd, horrifying. It would have been completely hideous even if it wasn't an undercover. He was, though, which makes that even more appalling. Yeah, absolutely. Another one. Thanks for sorting out the sound. Horrifying is right. Just imagining him as a character in a film was a good comment. It would be implausible as a script. Another one from Em Wallace, who's also in the public gallery. Hopefully get her in one of the videos later on. I can't even find the words about that. Shy Talk Hastings. Myra's amazing, so strong and brave, standing up and telling her side. It must be so hard, and she's smashing it. Yeah, she is doing really well. I don't know what else to say, to be honest, mate. It's just it's so fucking horrific. I really, it's totally understandable if people don't want to follow the audio evidence. It is graphic in the extreme. Yeah, it's incredibly unpleasant listening. Listen if you can, if you can face it, if you want a better understanding. We'll be doing more of these videos in the afternoon break and at the end of the day. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. I'm thinking like, what can we do for Maya? But then also, yeah, the police buys out of lives. That is the little like survival unit, the cushion. Like, I know that the best people to also care for her are, you know, her close family and friends, and police buys out of lives. But yeah, I wish there was just something we could do to make it somehow better for her, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, please support Police Buys Out of Lives. You can find them on all the social media and on their website. Please watch Dot's film, which features Maya. We Did Not Consent. It's available online. I'll make sure there's a link is shared on everything after this. Just one more. No, sorry, that was the same comment. Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all again later on. Bye for now.